everyone, Radio Gaga 2.0 is back with something you've always wanted to know. In our previous episode, we had with us Vani Mahesh and we spoke to her all about books. This time, we're diving deep into the movie world with Jammy Pants, or shall I say Anmol Jamwal, or shall I say Tried and Refused Productions. Welcome to the podcast, Jammy.
Hi guys, thank you so much for having me, and it's great to be here. Yeah, I don't do this often. I obviously, as you know, don't come in front of camera. Also, the fact that we're on Zoom, which is great. This is a podcast format, so I feel at home. So yeah, lovely to be here.
And firstly, congratulations, you just crossed 1 million subscribers, right?
Yeah. I think it happened a few weeks ago or a month ago, probably. Yeah. So hit the milestone, and feeling good.
Okay. If you had to elaborate on how do you feel, because it's 1 million subscribers on YouTube.
I necessarily don't have a particular feeling about it other than the fact that I'm like really grateful for sort of the community that I've built over a period of 5 years on the platform. A lot of people try to create a connotation to the number. The number necessarily doesn't equate to anything other than the fact that, it's just a number. Say I have that number and I don't do anything after that, that number really doesn't mean anything. So I just want to consistently keep on working on creating more and more content. The great byproduct is that the subscribers increase, but a lot of weightage is put on this particular milestone, whereas I know a lot of people like fall off after reaching that milestone. I think the important point is to keep on like striving for more and more after that. So yeah, that's the goal.
I realized the same thing after I started creating reels, because the numbers that you get in reels is insane. So it was that moment when I realized this number is just a number for now until it doesn't, result into something.
See, at least when it comes to YouTube, you can still sort of create a
Yes.
correlation with the number of views or the engagement that you're doing on a consistent basis, also be having a sort of monetary result.
Because it's a
So
commitment.
it's a commitment, and it also makes sense. The motivation also makes sense. What happens with uh, when there is no specific goal with, say, reels other
Yeah,
than reach and exposure, that's where it becomes a slippery slope, where you really don't know where you're
exactly.
headed other than just
Yeah,
these inflated numbers being there.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah, so the first question I have is about the name.
Mm.
One of the reasons I resonate with your content is your content really manifests by the name Tried and Refused Productions. You give the content, no matter how bizarre it is, you give it a try, even
Yeah.
if it sometimes may be for the content, like to push
Yeah.
out a video, but you
Yeah.
do give it an honest chance. So the question I have is, has this philosophy been the reason behind the name Tried and Refused Productions, or the name has given way to the philosophy of trying it out and then refusing it?
So the origin of the name comes from pure cynicism after college, and like angst altogether of
Right.
anything that represents the establishment, gatekeepers wanting to do something, and then constantly being reminded by said gatekeepers that we're not good enough to make a name for ourselves in any kind of industry that people would envision that outsiders can't. So yeah, mostly that. I still feel like the personality of the channel still has the essence of what the origin was and what its purpose was, and I strive for not losing that authenticity and connection with the audience, because what happens with exposure and numbers is that a lot of companies and a lot of like established players want to associate with you, and that sometimes screws a bit of your or creates a sense of confusion and muddles your opinion in terms of like whether people can trust you anymore or not.
Right.
So i've uh, I basically understood what path to take accordingly with the exposure and the numbers, where I don't lose that connection
You
with the
stick to your
audience that
roots
I've
as well.
built right now. Yeah, it is a constant tussle, because it makes you say no to a lot of things which will
Right.
probably monetarily or business wise really help you.
Hmm.
But it also becomes a tricky situation, because if you do take that said path, you can see slowly, for a lot of creators who have become big, that their engagement really becomes low over a period of time,
Right.
because it wasn't why people connected with the person initially anymore. Yeah.
Is that why you have kept
Okay,
your old
Anmol,
logo and that
it,
as well?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it's exactly that. And,
Right.
so you basically like hit the nail there, where, the messaging comes exactly from there.
Right.
Yeah.
Sorry, Yazad, you were saying.
so I had a question. So when when you started out, do you remember your first YouTube video? What was it like?
So, initially I had started with several ideas, because at that point of time, I had started in 2015, late 2015. So I basically wanted to experiment initially. So at that point of time, there weren't a lot of Indian creators, and I was watching a lot of like American and UK creators at that point of time.
Right.
So I was just thinking of doing a talk show. So my first video was this. We had this car show called Carpool. What was it called? It was we always like tend to think about James Corden taking our idea of carpool karaoke. We had a car show basically, which had some of our artist friends that we would interview, and they would jam and like talk about their particular journeys, and we would just like shoot it on a GoPro. It was called Carpool something, Riff Raff or Shenanigans or something like that. And it got traction amongst our friends because we were basically promoting them. So it didn't really do anything in terms of just numbers. But I remember that was the thing. It became a series. I did like around like 10 or 12 episodes with like random artist friends from Delhi. And after that, after that I experimented a lot with like challenge videos, and like I transitioned to do a bit of like reaction stuff also, but got over it real quick, because yeah, I have a thing with reaction videos now. But that was basically it stemmed from trying to understand and gauge what the space is like, and then finally to be like, okay, this is where it stands, this is where the engagement's happening or not. And then it
What is
was a
your
slow
place in it?
process. Yeah, it was a slow process of trying to like then understand that, okay, this is a particular niche which is probably not being tapped into,
Yeah.
and to channelize that into like a fully functioning business at that point.
Hmm.
I mean, I would relate to this because the first video I made was with my cousins and my grandmom, and we were just recreating a video we made in 2014 after 5 years. So, and after that, as you said, even I tried doing different challenges. Like there are those whisper challenge and
Yeah.
spicy noodle stuff and all that. And now when I look back at it, it feels like thoru, like cringe, if
Yeah,
I
of
can
course, of
say.
course. You look back at some of your. I'll look back at some of my content just a year back, and I'll cringe at that. So, I mean, my entire process of it all also is that there shouldn't be a sense of ego of. So there are a lot of creators who will argue or talk about how probably they could do the same thing that I'm doing and probably do it better. But in this process, what happens is that the particular medium demands a lot of things from you.
Hmm.
One thing, of course, that a lot of people have understood is that it demands you to be regular, because what audiences want is a sense of engagement on a consistent basis. But
Right.
the second thing is this sense of ego that a lot of people have, is that I will not put out this content because I do not fully believe in analyzing or reviewing this particular thing, which I think takes away from a lot of people wanting to regularly do work. Say I can like, there's a sense of ego in me not wanting to do Malayalam, Kannada, Tamil, Telugu content. Okay, that comes with a lot of people all over India. Is like, I don't even want to read subtitles or do anything. There's a sense of ego with that, because you're willing to do the same thing with and put in the same energy for other foreign films. So, when it comes to content, I feel like a lot of people actually lag behind in their space of like what is not good enough or what is good enough for their channel, rather than trying to understand that you tap into so many different markets and try to understand so many different cultures within your country, where it actually benefits your business and your numbers that you want to do in the future. So what was the initial question though? The initial question was it's something about
Your first video.
what's the seed, and
Yeah.
first video,
Yeah.
what's the seed and what keeps you going.
Yeah.
It's important to like broaden your horizons at one point through social media. What I feel like is a lot of people like want to stay in a particular model and think that this is the model that I want to be defined as, whereas you can be several things and still thrive. That's my point.
Plus, it also doesn't let you be monotonous or feel your content that is
Oh
monotonous.
yeah. The content, at least with social media, you can become so easily monotonous, and you can go through several Reddit pages and understand, when you look at the nasty threads that are there
Yeah.
online, of who's become monotonous or who's falling off.
Yeah.
So they really
That
like to
part.
analyze that. Yeah.
कौन बिक गया है basically?
कौन कौन बिक गया है या फिर कौन बोरिंग ही हो गया है,
Yeah.
I'm the thing about also, see, social media is that it becomes very clear when a person is not doing the same numbers that they were doing probably say 6 months ago. So when it becomes visible that a particular a person or a public figure is not doing well, it becomes a topic of discussion, similar to like
Right.
how box office numbers are so clear for a lot of actors, so when a person's not doing well or doing well, and that leads to, of course, chatter, and then a
Even
lot
if
of other
sometimes
things.
the creator is doing well, the numbers are increasing, but the content quality in itself is decreasing, that becomes chatter as well.
Yeah, 100%. The deterioration of either, whether it be quality. See, also quality is subjective, right? If you look
Precisely, yeah.
at if you look at some of the biggest creators online in India, who do a lot of sketch comedy and everything, it's definitely not for a particular audience that is especially active on platforms like Reddit, and is primarily English speaking and wants highbrow content. Whereas they're not catering to us, they're catering to the mass, which is the Hindi speaking audience, which
Right.
is basically the reason why we have such inflated numbers in terms of just engagement online with Indian creators. So again, a lot of people like to believe that whatever their likes or dislikes are, that should basically be catered to how everyone should feel, whereas that's not the case.
This is from one of your conversations with Shwetab as well, right? You asked him a question: is the Indian audience a reason for mediocrity in Indian cinema?
Yeah.
Are your opinions on that still the same, or has it, changed or evolved after that conversation? Because
No,
that
it's
thing
still
has
the
stuck with
same.
me.
Okay, like my perspective for that is still the same. This perception that my opinion is still that it's a two-way street. This perception also that Indians are not intellectual enough to understand a particular type of content and will not celebrate it on a mass level is, I think, ignorant.
Right.
Second, this perception that producers know what works and that's why they stick to formulaic content is true, but it's also not true for a lot of other producers who do the risk of, say, particularly if you look at SS Rajamouli, wanting
Right.
to do that mass cinema, which is considered to be mass cinema, but has a lot of mythological and Indian historical references in its content, where it's rich in its writing also.
Right.
So this perception that only movies like Houseful make business is ignorant because you basically don't want to focus on the contents that is actually doing really well. You look at right now with sort of the coexistence of OTT platforms and the theater, you can look at several examples of great content which is written beautifully, that is working exceptionally well, and and mass cinema, which is probably not as intellectually stimulating, also doing well. So I
Right.
think both can coexist. And it's true, it's true where some kind of cinema which only caters to stars
Hmm.
is a celebration of their presence,
Right.
nothing else and nothing more.
Hmm.
And that content is probably in its like dying form, because I feel
Is it though really?
after, yeah, because I think after Hrithik Roshan there is no star left in, say, if you look at Hindi cinema.
Right.
The celebration of a star doesn't exist for actors like Ranveer Singh, Ranbir Kapoor, Shahid Kapoor. These guys, if they do a slow motion walk with a montage in a film, a lot of hooting and cheering won't happen as much as an Akshay Kumar or a Salman Khan or a Shah Rukh Khan does.
Right.
You go to Gate Galaxy, and it's a popular,
Ah,
Gate
yeah, I know.
Galaxy.
I know.
And if you ever go over there, these cinema halls, these single screen theaters, they're meant for that particular entry scene for said actor.
Yeah.
And if that entry scene does not exist, they're disappointed in why our star didn't have that moment for him.
Hmm.
This is true for Hindi cinema. What is a crazy occurrence in Tamil and Telugu content, especially, is even the new actors are stars. So you have a Dhanush, you have a Vijay Deverakonda, you have all of these actors who, with their sort of like 10 years of experience, have become that star, have that star value to the
Right.
point where they've actually have a more loyal fan base than probably the younger lot of the Hindi film audience doesn't have.
Right.
So it's a different phenomena depending on like state to state, but I still genuinely think that it's a two-way street, and it's rather dismissive just to say that intellectual capacity नहीं है तो इसलिए ये ऐसा ही content चलता है, because we tend to ignore several other types of films that do work.
One of the arguments I have about this is from the tech industry. In the late 2000s, before the iPhone, the cell phone manufacturers were of the belief कि जनता को यही चाहिए जो कीपैड वाले phones होते हैं.
हाँ,
Whatever innovation used to happen was with companies like Nokia, who used to do different experiments, but nobody ever thought of a touchscreen phone until iPhone.
yeah,
iPhone didn't give what people wanted. iPhone gave them
yeah.
what they needed for the future, and that has shifted everything to a new direction altogether. So I do believe that for Indian cinema, the same thing as well. Previously हमारे पास एक वो था argument ये कि लोगों के पास option नहीं है. Previously, before the rise of the internet, people didn't have option, so they had to rely on a similar type of content. Now we do, but still there exists a dichotomy where uh, when intellectual movies don't work well, people are like लोग समझ नहीं रहे, जनता को ये नहीं चाहिए, etc etc. Yeah, sorry.
See, you look at Vasant Bala's interview on the reason for Mard Ko Dard Nahi Hota's failure.
Yeah,
Okay, Mard Ko Dard Nahi Hota is a brilliant superhero film that
agreed.
can easily turn into a graphic novel or a comic strip.
100%.
And he spoke about how there is a sense of onus that creators have to take in understanding on how they're marketing a film to the particular audience.
Hmm.
See, Chandigarh Kare Ashiki is a great example of
Hmm.
doing a sensitive topic about a taboo subject in a
Hmm.
mostly homophobic country, but package it in such a way that it does over 30 CR in 10 days.
Right.
So, see, if I package an Ayushmann Khurrana movie as a
Hmm.
rom-com, And in hindsight, what happens is that people storm in for a 9 a.m. show, and it's only in experiencing the movie that they realize this is a Vani Kapoor film, and they're talking about something that probably Hindi cinema has never spoken about in the commercial space. It's a win for a producer,
Right.
to understand that, okay, this is how I'm going to market the film so that the numbers come in, and they
Hmm.
probably take away something else while they're in. Nobody was the accounts of anyone being disgusted about Chandigarh Kare Ashiki is like almost non-existent, because it's
Right.
packaged in such a way where it's also palatable for a mostly homophobic country, or
Hmm.
a country where this is considered to be taboo. So I think it's also, you have to be smart in understanding the market to know like what kind of soft landing treatment that you have to do with these kind of topics. you
Right.
know
Yeah. Yeah.
See,
That makes sense.
everyone would like to believe that, oh yeah, they should have cast a transgender girl for Vani Kapoor's role, but you constantly forget about what basically attracts you to get in first.
Right.
And then so for it to be the first step is beautiful, in my opinion. And then probably we can, hopefully in the next 5-10 years, see an actual transgender girl play those roles, like
Hmm.
if you've seen Euphoria, the
Hmm.
transgender girl in it is played by a transgender girl. So probably that will be the next step. But it's great to see that we're slowly going towards that direction.
The next question has a bit of audio lag. Please stay with us and try to get as much as you can from it. Enjoy. Okay, speaking of films and latest films, did you get a chance to see 83? Because there was a grand premiere yesterday. Anmol.
I can't. Yeah, it's going to be great. What I can tell you about is that what can I say? I'm Murali, which is a Malayalam superhero film that will be available on Netflix tomorrow, which is 24th. And it just sort of solidified in my mind sort of the respect and love that I have for Malayalam cinema, because it goes out of its way to tell such compelling and engaging stories. So I would recommend that. A really, really compelling film done by Basil Joseph, and it'll be available on Netflix. And 83, which I'm going to put out tomorrow, is also brilliant. That's all I can say about 83, though.
Okay, then everyone head over to his channel to watch
Yeah.
it.
By the time this podcast comes out, the review will be up. So, yeah.
Since we are talking about your content, I have one personal question, which is about your writing and your content.
Yes.
Uh, in the beginning of your videos, you do a description like dot dot dot. This forms the crux of your movie, and that is somehow every
Okay,
time
okay, okay, okay.
so precise, so on point. It just describes it like package kar deta hai अच्छे से. And
Yeah.
that too, how is it easy to understand, even though sometimes it has difficult words. I just want to know, how do you do that? Because I myself am a writer, like an amateur one at that.
Okay.
And I have been trying to improve my writing to make it, as I call it, crisp, like to the point with less words. If you have any tips for me regarding that.
And
How
I
do you do
want
it?
to add
Yeah.
something on
Yeah.
this, that a lot of time I've done speech and drama from Trinity, and it's a lot about talking in public places, being open, and it also reflects a lot on how you speak on camera as well, or without camera, how you're doing with your videos. So how do you get this effective narration into place along with the writing that you do?
So, I'll tell you that when you're tackling non-spoiler reviews, you have to at one point of time create a balance between what is too much and what is not enough. And in that, it's a lot of trial and error. Probably if I look back at some of my writing in 2017, it's so cringy, so dismissive of like basic
I know the feeling.
notes of the particular film and what should be spoken about. So I think a lot of it has been just with what someone told me about was just doing. The more that I kept on doing it, I sort of like kept on getting better and better at it. There is a saying about what is the saying? Casey Neistat had spoken about this. Um, in the pursuit of being perfect, don't be scared of good enough. Okay. So in the process of wanting this piece to be perfect, I can keep on fine tuning it, thinking in my head that it's perfect, it's not good at all. And I keep on fine tuning it, thinking that shit, it's still not good enough. And I'll never put it out to the public. So that piece of art, that content piece will stay with me only and will be with no one because I thought it wasn't good enough. So this perception of whether my piece will be palatable to the audience, whether people will connect to it, is something which is a very internal process that I understand a lot of people can't get past. So what I understood from an early point of view was, the more content that I keep on putting out, and I make a conscious decision to keep on, trying to better myself in terms of diction, more reading, and more research in terms of films and the kind of like technical aspects I should focus on, it just sort of like makes it better and better. And I think that's been the most sort of learning process as a content creator, where I just felt that the more that I kept on doing it over a period of time, it did help in understanding, the basic beats of how to do content and video production. So on how to engage the audience for a more than 5 minute average view duration, that's another, skill that you have to fine tune constantly. And I think it is something that can be learned by doing it again and again.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, before the podcast started, you told us that you almost got into HR college. Did you get a chance to
Oh God.
interact with people in HR?
One of the main reasons why oh God, this is going to sound so bad. No, I'll keep that offline with you guys. But I got into HR, met the first cutoff, and then I was sitting in a classroom, and the seniors were doing the admission process, and I was like, okay, so everything's sorted. Some of my friends, batchmates also got in. So I was like, perfectly fine. The fact that what happened with Delhi University was that I had to dance my way to get into college. I got in through an ECA quota because I was 2% off the BCom honors cutoff, which was 97.25. And with HR, I had got in, but without having to dance. But I remember going to the terrace of HR, and my friends were like dancing over there, doing ECA auditions. And I was like, oh God, I feel bad for them right now. But no, I instantly fell in love with the seniors that I interacted with over there. And I felt that for whatever reason, HR is only criticized for not having a campus, for it just to be a building. But it compensates more than enough for such a vibrant crowd. And, I've also visited many times when the fest season was going on in Bombay, and HR used to be like one of the most fun events to, hang around with. So I I have this like bittersweet sort of like feeling with probably not doing Bombay University, because I feel like I'm more fit as a HR student rather than a Delhi University student. But yeah, so there's this weird connection that I had because I remember going to Jai Hind, going to HR, going to all of these colleges while doing my run of trying to get admission, and having this like weird sense of connection. It was like, in an alternate universe, you never know. What if? Yeah.
I mean, we don't have a campus actually, but
Yeah.
can you
That
guess how
thing
many
simple
clubs we
lagi baat.
have?
That's the funniest thing. And my mother had asked me, did you get in? I was like, yeah, I got in first list. I'm sorted. I've got the admission and everything, because my mother had heard of HR, but she had no idea how HR looked. So she's like, okay, just send me a photograph of it. And I sent her a photograph. She's like, what? This is just one building? I was like, yeah.
That was our reaction as well, honestly.
No, at one point of time, some of my friends had got into Xavier's as well. And I was like, look, oh my God, look at the center courtyard that you have, dude. I was like, yeah, that's a great campus. But I was like, no, dude, HR, I like the crowd better. It's like, oh, get over HR. Yeah. Because I kept on raving people about like, oh, dude, the seniors are great. Yeah. I had a really great time. It's like, relax. That's the same case everywhere. I was like, no, no, I went to Jai Hind. They weren't that cordial or friendly. So, but it's definitely subjective, but I'm only
Of
talking
course.
about my experience. Yeah.
Yeah. My
Let's say
experience has been similar with the seniors.
yeah. About Jai Hind, we zip it.
I can't comment over Jain. I haven't visited Jain much. I have come to know through my friend's power of stalking here that you are really into fitness. What is
Am I?
your
We,
fitness routine like right now?
Oh, God, it'll sound so vain if I tell you. But
I did not tell him this.
no. But in general, I'm just trying to take care of myself. Yeah, it sounds so pretentious, but I okay, you also have to realize, so I'm obsessed with YouTube content in general. Before I became a content creator, I was constantly on the platform. I was constantly watching videos. So some of my favorite videos are of fitness influencers, okay? Because there is a sense of more than just the aesthetic bodybuilding that they were doing. They were setting up businesses, they were like setting up
Right.
different monetary avenues,
Mhm.
which interested me a lot. So there's this guy, his name's Christian Guzman. He's a very popular like athlete online, and I got obsessed with watching his videos because he started his business when he was 21. Right now he's the same age as me. So just to see him grow a brand, get into apparel, then hire physical spaces, have his own gym, so it really interested me a lot. And in that process, the byproduct has been that these sense of healthy lifestyle and everything is something that I became like really connected with. So I think it's more to do with that. And so right now I'm just like on a wannabe keto diet, and I like do like work out like 5 times a day, 5 times a week. Sorry, 5 times a day would be problematic. But I just try to be active as much as possible. I was playing sports throughout my school life, so it helped. And what happened was, I think my biggest trigger of wanting to work out was, for 3 months I had gone for an exchange program to Germany in 11th grade, and I was the smallest in the batch of Europeans all around me. Okay. I was at that point of time, I think 5'7" or something, and really, really small just from a bone density and mass standpoint. Okay. And I had Russians, this guy from Russia, this guy from Greece, and one guy from Azerbaijan next to me. And I was like, you're the same age as me.
I
These guys were
can't
like
even, I
six
don't even
foot
want to picture that really.
these guys were like 6'4", massive bodies, have already been to the gym since they were 13. They were
Yeah.
powerlifting, squats, deadlifts. And I was like, what the hell? So, just from a one genetic standpoint, we're like so inferior to them. And second thing is, the integration of weightlifting and everything is brought about in Indian kids so later on, that the prime at which you can do it, when you're hitting puberty and really like build up a solid body structure, is there's a lack of education about it, and there's a hesitance of parents to even send children to the gym.
And the
And
integration itself is so problematic.
and I genuinely feel like, I mean, like, I would love for kids to have a combination of both sports as well as weight training, as something
Right.
that's integrated into school culture, because it helps
Precisely.
so much. I'll tell you, Tushar, we used to play basketball. So I was in Doon school, Dehradun. So I was in boarding school, and
Hmm.
we used to have such like menial meals over there, to the point where, like, basic sense of protein, carbs, and fats, it was like so lacking, where there was a sense of not having a balanced diet. And what would happen was that for basketball tournaments, people would come, and still remember Nabha schools from Punjab would come, and they would be the same age as us, and all would be 6'2", and we were like,
Jacked.
what the hell, jacked, super yoked, and we would be like, what are we missing out on? Because when you get out of the world, you're like, dude, it's insane. And you look at like NFL linebackers and the states, and look at their size, dude, and they're 18 getting drafted to the NFL. It's insane. And like it helps so much physically to have that, So yeah, a lot of that. Such a long answer for again, such a simple question. But yeah, that's the point.
No, it's okay. We are enjoying the conversation.
Yeah.
Plus, recently I have gotten into fitness as well in this last year, and I have gone through the same, problematic integrations as well. Thankfully, I consider myself an extremely curious person, so I got myself educated and didn't get into weird things.
No, Tushar, I'm also telling you, like the amount of misinformation in India is insane, and misinformation from hired individuals in establishments. It's
One
the
of the
worst.
biggest realizations I got when I got into the gym was people who look like they know their shit many times don't.
Yeah,
This
yeah,
was
yeah.
one of the biggest lessons I learned.
Yeah, 100%. There are too many posers and there are too many pseudoscience going on in those establishments, which you should definitely like stray away from because it's a
Man, I
slippery
can't
slope,
even
man.
tell you. I have been trying to convince my friend that
Mhm.
the advice he has gotten to take a mass gainer is wrong.
Oh God, dude. You know,
And it's so difficult to explain him.
the entire concept of mass gainer, of getting into a bulk so that you can then get into a cut, it's the worst thing that you can do it to your body, man.
I
It's
know.
it's crazy. It's crazy. And it's your body, dude. You're like putting
Seriously.
putting stuff into your body, and
Yeah.
then you're gonna like regret it later. It's a yeah, it's crazy on the kind of like conviction with which these guys like give advice, and you're like, oh, okay, this is what I'm supposed to do. Okay, I'll put any powder in my body and be like,
This
yeah,
guy
it's fine.
looks jacked. He might know it.
Yeah,
That's the basic mentality.
yeah, but you have no idea of probably the several other complications he's going through.
And it's the opposite. Like when I go, they're like, तुम प्रोटीन नहीं लेते, प्रोटीन लेना चाहिए आपको, बहुत पतले हो.
Oh God. Oh.
Have you felt overwhelmed about content, about creating content, or just like when I was 15 years old, I was obsessed with Hollywood action movies. So what I did was I Googled best action movies and I watched every single one of them that popped up for the year 2015, 2014, and 2013.
Mm.
All of them literally. And then I was
Mm.
like, ho gaya. But then I came to know this isn't even the tip of the iceberg. I
Yeah.
haven't even started watching cinema or movies. There's TV shows. That's a whole
Yeah.
another universe. That's when I discovered TV shows. So things like that make you feel overwhelmed. Like there is so much to want. There is so much great art out there, and there is
Yeah.
like this would be an existential thing today. We have so little time to
Yeah.
consume all
Yeah.
of that. Have you ever felt
100%.
like that?
See, my entire career for the last 3 years is being on a schedule. Okay.
Right.
This is the schedule. And if you miss this window, it's going to be like you've lost out the engagement of probably what you could do in those 24 hours. So that in itself is stressful because what happens is, thankfully, with the OTT space is that certain creators who have channels and publications, they get screener links to films, so you get it a bit ahead of time so that your review can go up on time. But the tension of watching a Friday 9 a.m. show and making sure that your cohesive piece is ready by 4 p.m. is like the most stressful thing I would literally like not want anyone to endure, because you're constantly battling, one, the content, for and two, for it to translate completely to you instantly when you're watching it, to not rewatch it again, to not do a rewind and watch that scene again, and to understand its social context and probably themes that it wants to like embark upon. But sadly, that entire thing is okay for films which are sort of like, say, the commercial masala movies. Okay, you understand, you get an idea of what the movie is. But when you're watching like a Anurag Kashyap or a Vishal Bhardwaj movie, you need some things to settle down. You need
Yeah.
it to sit with you. So it comes with, it's a double-edged sword that way. But it does get overwhelming, especially with how saturated right now the market has become. Because with every Friday release, now what's going to happen is there's going to be a theatrical release and an OTT release and a
Yeah.
web series release every Friday. So I mean, right now I just finished, Spider-Man came out, and then Pushpa came out the next day, and then two web series came out on Netflix and Sony Live. And, in this process, there has to be, just for your mental health, something that you can let go of. At one point of time, you also cannot focus on everything. And, whatever we're doing is overwhelming, and it's still not too much. We're still not scratching the surface of the plethora of content that comes out.
Yeah.
So what I sometimes feel is, sometimes you should just let go of wanting to do everything and do what you are focusing on really well. So the point is that right now. And but I definitely will still say that Friday morning till afternoon thing is full of tension. There is nothing worse than me writing in a packed theater alone, people thinking that I've lost my mind, and then
You
coming
actually
back
do that?
full on with a pen and paper,
Wow.
notepad, and coming back home and say, like, my father's roaming around somewhere or creating noise, and I'm trying to like get a piece out by 4 p.m. and I'm just like trying to have some kind of peace. But yeah, that Friday one is like quite the stress
You still write on a
inducing.
notepad, like a physical pen and paper?
Yeah, physical pen and paper. Sometimes where it gets a little too much, where I literally cannot see what I'm writing, then I'm just like on my notepad on my phone or something. But I mean, with content that is at least like easy to sort of like decipher. Sometimes the dialogues are so cringeworthy that you just have to write it down. So it helps. It helps. Yeah.
How do you like, when you're sitting to script your video, do you first form a basic like pinpoints on a pen and paper and then script it on your laptop, or how do you do that?
So
Because
see,
yeah,
tell me.
writing with a pen and paper, I have realized, is एक अलग clarity आती है pen and
Yeah,
paper के
yeah,
साथ. I don't
yeah.
know how, I don't know why. I have tried it multiple times. I have tried different ways. I even have tried writing with an S pen on my tablet, but
Hmm.
still pen and paper पे कुछ अलग ही बात है.
Yeah, I just finished this right now, and it's just pen and paper stuff. And what I've realized is it's probably reflective of the 12 years you do in school and college, and then 3 years
Yeah.
again. It becomes so like, it's a motor nerve at one point of like looking at something and then looking back at the paper, and then having this sense of like, okay, this is what I have to decipher. I think there's a sense of connection with that, of what we've been doing all our school life, that probably there's something, our neurons get triggered with the pen and paper, and having something, hitting the brain probably is more effective than just writing it on a phone. uh, Also, what I've realized is, I mean, like, I look up to a few writers and they swear by the pen and paper, so I
Oh, they
guess
do.
it's just
Yeah.
that more than anything else. Yeah.
What I think is, one of our, as you said, our neuron motors keep running, is
Yeah.
we have a habit of uh, like हमारा दिमाग काम करना बंद कर देता है एग्जाम्स में. We are writing out of our, like something happens, we stop thinking, हमारा हाथ खुद ही चलने
Yeah,
जाता
yeah,
है
yeah.
एग्जाम्स में. I think that is the habit of us when we get writing to pen and paper.
Yeah, yeah, 100%. I've also realized that some of the times where I would write on my notepad on my phone, that somehow it wouldn't even seem natural at one point. And me just looking back at the paper and like,
When did I
uh,
write all that?
Yeah, and putting down like important points again, or like putting an asterisk next to some
Yeah.
sentence, it just takes me back to like ISC boards and ICSCA, like, so probably is more reflective of that than anything else.
Yes, sir.
We
Sorry.
still have one offline exam left now. We
Oh
had
God.
1 year online and now it's going to be offline again for our last semester. So it's going to be.
Hmm. No, I can't even imagine that right now. Like I was, the credit by credit is due. I loved you for the fact that I could go to campus. Okay. Everything that was brilliant about the show, brilliant about college was emergency. I'm getting
Yeah.
like trigger words of
Yeah.
movie keeps on coming in. But the college was great because we could go to campus because, all the colleges would be connected to one another in North Campus. So the concept of, for some people, graduating college without even going to college like blows my mind. Yeah.
I have one of the biggest regrets of my life has been to not attend college when I could. I actually missed out on my first year. I was such
Okay.
a scared little kid. I didn't go to college at all in my first year.
Oh
Tushar, do
God.
you want to
And
tell them
about,
which lectures you attend?
oh God. Okay, this would be interesting. Since you're a
Hmm.
BCom student, I have some confidence in telling you about it.
Yeah.
So I was very interested in media and cinema ever since 10th standard. So, and I was a CA student, but I left CA.
Mm.
So after that, I was like, I want to do BMM. But everyone around me was like,
Mm.
whatever you do, it's basically an undergraduate degree, which is not important at all. So that thing was fit into my mind. I thought, okay, if it doesn't matter, it doesn't matter. I took BCom because no effort. So sorry
Mm.
if you know, sorry if you take offend on that. Uh, but after the pandemic started and I
I
came
don't
to,
take offense at all because yeah. I was saying I don't take offense at all because literally BCom for me was cakewalk. Uh, not
no effort.
and I'm not trying to like shit on people who probably were like trying really hard and really ace their exams by working hard. I am telling you, my entire college life was I was dancing throughout. Okay, I was working for a company in Delhi. I was performing in a company in Gurgaon. So I would barely be in college. Okay, and if I was in college, I was with my dance society, performing for fest seasons and running around and all of that. Okay, and then when it came to like corporate accounting, cost accounting classes and everything, I was barely there. Okay, and a month before my exams, I was fucking listening to YouTube lectures, dude. I was
Same.
listening to YouTube lectures and getting the basics sorted, and I was getting the exams done like this. So
It's a
I don't know
miracle.
whether
It's a
it
real miracle.
says a lot. I don't know whether it says a lot about the syllabus and like or probably is more indicative of your skills than the syllabus. But for me, it was like pretty easy. I didn't get the big hoo-ha of like everyone complaining about BCom being so intense.
Same. You won't believe this. I
It's
did a,
it probably sounds so arrogant, but no, the concept
it does,
being
it
that
does.
people can figure it out. My
We
entire
can.
point was everybody had created this perception of BCom being this like crazy thing, and I would just that's different that whoever was doing CA already had a base of what they're going to understand in
Yeah.
class, so
Yeah.
they were sorted. They didn't even give a shit. But like even for me, who couldn't care less about what was happening, and for the last month to be like this crash course and then still do well, I was like, okay, this whole perception is a bit exaggerated.
You won't believe I
Yeah.
did a 2-minute stand-up act roasting BCom in front of my principal.
Oh God. Was she
And
happy?
somehow it
Did she have
worked
a
out
sense of
well.
humor?
She
Okay,
did.
okay, thank
She
God.
did.
A lot of
That
a
was my
lot
reaction. I wasn't expecting
a
that.
lot of
She
these a lot of a lot of these principals don't have a sense of humor, so that's good that she did.
I got lucky, you can
Yeah.
say.
Yeah, because I have come across some Sadu principles. So it's good that you had one who could like laugh it out also.
I
Tell us
mean,
about,
if you
yeah.
see our previous podcasts, we're asking our principal, Pooja ma'am only, about her experience in being, brought up in Ulhasnagar. And we tell her that even Ashish Chanchlani is from Ulhasnagar. So she's like, not Ashish Chanchlani, it's Pooja Ramchandani.
Oh, okay.
I am from Ulhasnagar as well, by the way.
सारे स्टार वहां से ही आते हैं.
Oof.
साउथ बॉम्बे वालों का क्या यार?
साउथ बॉम्बे वालों का सारा बॉलीवुड है, वो सारा बॉलीवुड साउथ बॉम्बे ही है.
Nailed it.
Yeah,
Nailed
yeah.
it.
No, but Ulhasnagar, yeah, I keep on speaking to Ashish here and there. Ulhasnagar, he's really like advertised that, huh? Ulhasnagar.
It is.
Yeah.
It is. It's a very secret place.
Yeah. I've never ventured there. Ek din, one day I'll come there.
+1.
Yeah, +1. Yeah.
Since we were talking about how overwhelming it gets, how do you give yourself a break, or do you at all?
Oh God. यार रुलाएगा क्या तू तुषार? I'll honestly tell you, it's a tough one, yeah, with the situation, with the sort of momentum we've had, with the way the company has grown.
Yeah.
It becomes, and I love what I do. So the process of taking a break also comes a lot of times in my mind. And that said break almost makes me constantly think about missing out on probably the work that I could have done.
There's FOMO and there's guilt.
Yes, and it is probably indicative of the toxic way in which Indian kids are brought up, and
Yes.
wanting to be workhorses constantly, and having a sense of self-worth through the work
Attached
that they
to the-
do.
yeah.
And it's something that I've tackled, something that has something that I've actually gone to therapy for, because it the equation of work with worth becomes rather toxic, where you can't think of anything else other than work. And the concept of even like completely being devoid of ideas becomes a scary thought for me. And burnout as a concept in itself is very much been my reality for some of the months in especially during lockdown, when the second wave had hit, where I was like, what am I exactly doing by producing content at a time where the world is burning?
Yeah.
So I've had a sort of like a love-hate relationship with taking a break, how much is enough, and and what is really leading to my mental health, or just for my betterment. So I constantly keep on thinking about that, and I keep on oscillating between this much is good enough and that much is good enough, but I guess there's no objective science behind it.
Right.
It's just that when I have taken breaks, they've been very sporadic and very brief, and they have been beneficial. And probably I only need those small bursts of breaks in order to then re-energize and like do more work. But I would recommend anyone who feels a sense of discomfort in just relaxing to address it with avenues such as therapy, because it really does help in providing clarity on why you're feeling this way. And I'm still struggling with it, but I think my inner psyche and the medium that I'm working at, they are almost at loggerheads with one another mostly. So I would love for one day for the business to be set up in such a way where I'm a little more hands off, and where I can treat myself also. But I'm not complaining at all, because I absolutely love what I'm doing also. So yeah.
What does a break look like for you? Do you consume different type of content, or what type of content do you consume just for yourself?
A lot of English content. Anything that's from India almost becomes work. A lot of sadly what's happened, sadly it's a great problem to have, but with even English content now, people are wanting, videos to be out for them. So which I tend to be like, listen guys, like, there are some movies that, I know already international creators who are going to cover it and cover it well. So me just being another like drop in the ocean for that kind of content would also probably, then take away from the small pleasures that I might have while going to the theater and watch a film. That's why I'm mostly for international content which have a global appeal, which are the Marvel, DC films, and other movies is the only ones that I cover. And there was a lot of like recommendations to check out Spencer and House of Gucci, a lot of the movies that are going to be in the Oscar race, but I wanted to keep them for myself and just watch them and like have fun. So yeah, in terms of at least like relaxing and chilling, I watch a lot of like South Korean content and English content mainly. It's because of the subscribers also that I've slowly started to get into watching One Piece and Naruto and like watching like anime stuff, because I think ignoring the said medium will be also not helping me, because you get to learn so much from their narrative style. Yeah.
I've been thinking of getting into anime as well.
Oh my God. And by the way, it's so spread out in the
It
sense
is,
there
it
is
is, really
so
is.
much. So yeah, I mean, we're anyway late to the party, but we might as well get to it. Yeah. Yeah.
Do you still have that feeling of, just watching a movie or a show just for the sake of it and not analyzing it? Ever since I have been into understanding the depth of movies and analyzing, like watching your content or basically content like you,
Yeah.
analyzing content, I, in between thode time pehle, I had a feeling like I'm over analyzing everything. Like I can't just enjoy a movie just for the sake of it. Can you do that?
I can do it now, especially for films that have a sense of nostalgia. There are some films. See, if I wanted to, I can super analyze Kal Ho Na Ho, Kabhi
Oh,
Khushi Kabhi Gum.
100%.
I can butcher
100%.
that film. I can like talk about several things that don't
Oh,
work,
yeah.
you know. But there's a piece of my childhood in that movie, okay? And does it make me happy? Yes. And sometimes that's enough also, and to completely surrender to that crazy vision sometimes is really really like it generates some of the best experience in watching content where you can just let it be. Sometimes Karan Johar also speaks about it now. What's become at one point of time, what used to happen was when somebody would ask you like how was the movie, they would say, oh, it's good or bad. But right now they're like, there were certain
Yeah,
aspects about it. It's like, no, dude, I just wanted to know whether it's good or bad.
yeah.
So a lot of people have become extremely critical of films now at one point of time, where it's getting excessive to the point of being like, are we even enjoying things anymore? And
Exactly.
somebody in an interview had said that, I had focused on a love story where the girl fell in love with the boy. It's like, क्यों? अरे क्यों का क्या है यार, प्यार हो गया, sometimes
Yeah.
प्यार हो जाता है. So this
Huh.
concept of having a said reasoning for said emotion almost becomes so mechanical, where characters also can't be human anymore. I'm also saying this while trying to like analyze every single movie, but I feel that for a lot of films which get heavily trolled or really like blasted online, that some of them at least they need the time to breathe or be celebrated rather than completely butchered. Sometimes right now content is being butchered even before it releases on the idea of what it might focus on. So that's where we've come to now, that there's a beautiful series on Disney Plus Hotstar called Grahan. Okay.
Okay.
It's got Pavan Malhotra in it. It's on the anti-Sikh riots. And what happened was the trailer was cut in such a way where it seemed as if Pavan Malhotra's character was involved in the riots. So the perception of the boycott campaign that started was, how can you show a Sikh man be a part of the anti-Sikh riots?
Right.
When they saw the show, they eventually realized it was nothing like that at all. He is actually the protagonist. So, right now we've come in a very polarizing, toxic environment
Yeah,
where
we are into our bubbles a lot.
we want every single character and every single story to agree with our politics. And if it doesn't, we don't want any of it. And
Yeah.
we don't want it to exist also.
That's a problem. Yeah.
So it's pretty insane.
We can't agree to disagree anymore. That's
No,
a
no,
problem.
no. There's this show that's come out with Madhavan called Decoupled, and it's getting heavily
Oh
trolled
my
on
God,
Twitter.
I didn't understood why. I
वही है
really
ना?
didn't.
नहीं
It
वो
does have a certain problematic aspects. I agree.
yeah,
It does, but
of course.
it's self-reflective in itself.
Yeah, see, it's
Even
about
the character is self-reflective. It
It's-
has been shown its place, as you said in the video.
yeah.
I agree.
See, and also he's an annoying middle-aged man. Okay,
Yeah.
he has some really problematic thought processes, and so does my Fufaji. So if my Fufaji was on like somebody put a camera on him and recorded his conversations, it would probably be reflective of some of the things this guy was saying.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Exactly.
but
They are not trying to justify what is, they are just trying to portray it.
exactly. So I don't know. It's become a weird time where that's
Even
what's
I have
happening.
gotten into conversations where I am like, I am trying to tell you what is. I am not saying that it should be like that. It's
That's
a
a
genuine problem.
great
When you
point,
try to
great
tell
point.
people that what is, they
Yeah.
contemplate it as I am saying that that's how it should be.
Yeah, no, that's the biggest problem when it comes to criticism of any content, where is character ने ये किया क्यों किया? Okay, the character did it. So if you remember the anthology that had come about Ajeeb Dastans, okay?
Yeah.
Okay, and there's a short in it called Ankahi, okay?
Right.
With Manav and Shefali Shah, okay? And what happens in it is that spoilers, guys. Anyway, the end is about it's about infidelity, okay?
Yeah.
But it doesn't celebrate it. The connotation of whatever theme that you're focusing on becomes very important. Is the intention behind that story a celebration of infidelity? It isn't. It's a fictional story about two characters where infidelity came as a plot point or a trigger in that story, which is a reality. How are we like trying to ignore this aspect as if it shouldn't exist in at all?
It's a portrayal.
Decoupled is not a celebration of divorce.
Yes,
it's the reality of those characters. And this concept, what are we doing with these characters? Why we celebrate divorce as if like they're like giving you a bhashan about divorce is a great thing. They aren't. It's all self-induced, and all of these narratives are self-created. And the intention of the creators is not at all to do that. So I'm baffled by some of the arguments that people make. Chandigarh Kare Ashiki. This is only leading to everyone becoming like this. Everyone will do surgery.
This argument,
what are
whenever you get into a conversation about LGBTQ.
Oh God.
That's a relevant one.
Yeah.
Okay, fine. We don't have time. Let's move on quick to the rapid fire.
Yeah.
Anmol, 5 seconds you have, okay? For each question. Let's go. First one.
Best interview / podcast conversation till date. Apart from this one, of course.
It was lovely having you.
Apart
Thank you for
from
inviting me.
No, the question is best interview or podcast conversation we have done.
Restart. Did I just embarrass myself right now? Yes. Okay, what's the question? Best interview what?
Best interview or podcast conversation you have had till now, apart from this one, of course.
Best interview. Best interview. Oh my God.
Say a name.
Shit. Actually, I had a lot of fun with Ankit from Only Desi. So he's a lot of fun. Yeah.
The biggest celebrity crush. I think you said your answer, Hrithik Roshan. But
What
who's your
about
favorite?
He's definitely the man crush. He's definitely the reason why I do film content. वो तो अलग बात है. But female crush, Preeti Zinta, forever and ever.
Oh. Which is your dream interview, like the person you'll have to?
Either Hrithik Roshan or Hrithik Roshan is probably the dream. Yeah.
Okay. One movie or show that you regret watching because you can't experience it again for the first time.
Ooh, that's a good one. Probably Game of Thrones. The journey I've had with that show is something that I can't think of or fathom. The fandom around that show was insane, and I can't even imagine being in that same headspace again and watching the Red Wedding again. So
Yeah.
definitely Game of Thrones for me. Yeah.
Biggest pet peeve with Hindi cinema right now?
Again, catering to the aura of the star rather than the character, more the celebration of the person outside of the frame rather than who he's playing.
One movie that made you cry.
Made me cry. Oh, so many. I cry so much, dude. Made me cry is probably Nani's Jersey most recently, because I saw it again before I go for Shahid's film next week. Made me cry. Yeah.
One silly or terribly flop movie that you really enjoy?
Oh, there's a 2016 film with Rani Mukherjee called Ayya. It's absolutely stupid.
Oh yeah. That song that is now going on over views.
Yeah.
Right.
It's hilarious and it's so stupid. And I think Rani Mukherjee aces that genre of stupid comedies. She does it really well.
Okay. Are you a bathroom performer, bathroom singer, dancer?
Not really. I'm a full phatawa dhol when it comes to singing. But dancing, no. I leave it for dance class. Most of the dancing. Yeah.
Have you ever walked out of theater? If so, when?
Oh yes, I have. But before my critique days, there is an Aftab Shivdasani and Gracie Singh movie called Muskan. Okay. In 2004, I think. And I remember there were like 7 songs before the interval hit, so I stepped out.
I have gone to very shitty movies with my father as well. Me and my father are both movie buffs, thankfully. And never has my father said like, I can't watch this until Race 3 and Satyamev Jayate.
Satyamev Jayate.
Dude, my father was like, can we go? I don't know. I can't watch this.
Satyamev Jayate too. But
it was a trip.
It made me stay in the theater because I was like, how bad can it get? And it just got exponentially worse.
Unfortunately, I had the tendency to to take out positive things from everything. The thing you said now that they wanted it to be a homage to the 90s or 80s.
Yeah.
I could see that. Like, it was their intention. That was clear. The execution, however, was shitty.
I can't say enough things about Milap Zaveri. He's quite the unique creator.
Yeah. Yazad.
Last thing, did you enjoy this conversation?
Loved it. Thank you guys for inviting me. And it was, in this process also, I love to hear the thought process of people who are, consuming so much of content. So it was lovely to interact with both of you as well. Yeah.
I'm glad to hear that.
Yeah.
Now
on top of that, HR also. So it's just like perfect. Yeah.
Okay, then. It was great. It was lovely chatting with you.
Thank you guys. And hopefully I get to see you somehow. Probably when I'm in Bombay, we can chill one time or the other.
100%.
Wow.
If you come to Bombay before we graduate, we can do this maybe in an offline medium as well. We
yeah,
have a studio in HR.
Oh, sorted. That'll be fun. Hopefully Omicron doesn't screw things up.
Hopefully.
Yeah. Take care, guys.
Yeah. Bye-bye.
Bye. To all our viewers, thank you so much for watching this podcast with Anmol. We hope you had a fun time. I had a fun time. Tushar, did you have a fun time?
I did.
And to the rest of you, stay tuned for our next episode and we'll be back soon. Here's Radio Gaga 2.0 signing off.
Bye-bye.